They might have the car you want to drive. They might be having the house and the apartment. How are they already at that point? And I feel like I got left in the dust. It's not a race, I promise. Can you focus on me? Baby, can you focus? Hi girlies, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, welcome to my new series called Stepping Into Your Femininity. And the topic for today's episode is comparison and imposter syndrome. Let's get into it. So if you've ever struggled with comparing yourself to others or have felt like an imposter, no matter what the environment is, career, school, just anything new that you're starting in a transitional period, definitely stay tuned. I'll just be talking about some ways you can get over this imposter syndrome, some ways to work through it, and also ways to go about not comparing yourself to others, even though it can be very, very hard. So first, I'll start off with kind of some examples of ways I've dealt with imposter syndrome or comparing myself to others in the past and the present. I feel like imposter syndrome is something that can never be age dependent. It's kind of just like stages of life of where you're transitioning, or if you're trying something new, you might feel like an imposter, might feel like you're not good enough, or you could feel like you should not be the person or the go-to person for something in general, for school, career, just anything where you feel like you shouldn't fit in. You're an imposter, you're faking it. So for me, I feel like I'm in a very transitional period right now, also being in post-grad, so I'm about a year post-grad, and being in your early 20s is such a transformative period for everyone. So you might be going through something way different than your friend. And that's kind of how the comparison can start to get into your mind and make you think about things, make you think you're not good enough or you're not in the right space, just because everyone is in their own different stage of life. And it's hard to see others go do something that you might want to do, and you just don't feel like you're at that point in life now. So you're always steady comparing yourself like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'll never get to this point, when it's really not true. It's not a race, I promise. It is not a race. Even though I feel like social media sometimes makes it really hard to realize that it's not a race, because we're comparing ourselves to people that, I guess in my 20s now, I'll say I look at other influencers or people that are out there and think, wow, they really have like this going on for them. And I have to realize I'm only 23. I'm only 23. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And I'm sure a point of where I am right now might be somewhere that somebody else is trying to be at. Like, I've graduated college. I have a career. I moved to a new city. I have my own apartment. Just things that other people might not be in that stage. They surpassed it. You just have to think about where you want to see your life go and what your dreams and aspirations are. So yes, let's touch on common instances where you might compare yourself to someone else or some other group of people, and also might experience imposter syndrome. So like I already mentioned, it might be among friend groups, especially in your early 20s, or even, it doesn't matter what age you are. You might see your friends all in different stages. This friend over here is pursuing a master's degree, while this one is getting married. This one is having a baby. And these are all pivotal steps with becoming an adult, and also just becoming your own woman. They might have the car you want to drive. They might be having the house and the apartment, and you just don't feel like you're at that point yet. And you might start to think, wow, we're the same age, or they're younger, or they're a little older. How are they already at that point? And I feel like I got left in the dust. Just being like transparent here. You might feel like, why am I getting left in the dust? Why are these things not happening to me? When it is not a race. And I know it's hard to kind of change your mindset and get into like, this is not a race. That's their life. This is my life. And even spiritually, this is what God has planned for me, and this is what God has planned for them. He is the only person that knows how this will go. We don't know. So we can sit and beat ourselves up, and we can compare to what others have or what we don't have, or if we feel like an imposter, but it's really up to him. Another instance where you might not feel like you have it all together or you're comparing yourself is kind of your environment. Also, social media influences, I think, play a lot into this. So like I mentioned, I moved to a whole new state. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos because this is just something, a new chapter for me. So I would say if I was still in my same environment of where I grew up at, or even in my college environment, I might feel a little left behind because everyone's life paths are just different there. And in college, it's a different age group. Like, it's kind of a wide variety, but mostly younger audience, you know, people just getting to school. So, or people that are just graduating, pursuing higher degrees. And you might have just come out of undergrad and you don't want to go to school, but you see other people pursuing these graduate degrees. And you're like, wow, why? They're doing this, they got that job. Like, but that's not the life you have planned for yourself, the life God has planned for you. So I know it can be hard, but you can find yourself comparing yourself there, and even also just being in a new environment. So I'm in a new environment. I've been living in a new city, a new state, 2,000 miles away from family. So it's sometimes hard to not feel like an imposter in this stage of my life, just because I feel like I just graduated high school, if I'm gonna be honest. And why am I at this point in my life where I'm already paying my own apartment, rent, bills, and like starting to adult when I don't really feel like that internally, even though my age is saying that I should. So it's something I struggle with a lot, just feeling like an imposter in a new environment, a new city, a new space, making new friends, making new connections, even at work, learning new things and having like responsibilities put on me that I might not always feel like I'm the go-to person for that. But you just have to kind of trust in yourself and know that you wouldn't be in this place if it wasn't for growth. Another tip that I have is to seek out mentorship. So if you see a woman in a career path or field or just lifestyle that you are longing for or you want to obtain, you can seek out mentorship with them and like just talk through, because everything that glitters is not gold. Let me tell you. You might be admiring this person like, wow, they really have this car and this house, they're doing this, they got this amount of money. And then you sit down and talk with them and it's not what you thought it was. They didn't get here how you thought it was. Not as easy as you may think it looks. They are going through things like we all are. So if you seek out mentorship with them, really talk through like where you see yourself and how they might be an inspiration to you, and you can kind of just see how they've gotten to this point and they can guide you. And a lot of times I think it's good to seek out mentorship as a girl in your early 20s or like a teenager going into college, going into career, just because there's a lot of things that we don't know. Point blank, period. There's a lot of things that we have yet to experience. And there are women out here that have been through it just so you don't have to go through it, just so you can know better. So, mentorship. And lastly, give yourself grace. I'm going to repeat. Give yourself grace, okay? This is something that I have to recognize a lot in myself, because I might just think I'm not even close to where I want to be. Like, I said I wanted to do this at this age and it's just not looking like it's in the cards. Give yourself grace. I always have to think back of, like I said, vision boards or things I wrote in my journal, that things I've been praying for. Like, obtaining my degree was something that I really prayed for some time in my life in the past. And you are living in answered prayers, even though day after day it might not seem like you're getting to the point that you want to be at. But look back at what you wanted to accomplish in prayers that you prayed in the past, and how you are currently living in those answered prayers. It might not have happened the way you wanted to in the time you wanted to, but I promise you are accomplishing something right now that you once hoped and prayed for. So give yourself grace. So to close this video, I really want to just speak to the young women like me, or just women like me that are in a very transitional space, and know that one, it's not a race. Your life is your life, and those people's lives are theirs. I know it's sometimes hard to sit back and not compare yourself, but just remember, it's not a race. And give yourself grace, okay? It's not a race, and give yourself grace. That's it, really, like, truly. I just wanted to make this video because I think this is a topic that a lot of women go through on a day-to-day basis, and we might talk about with our friends, or say you don't even have that girlfriend group. Like, I want to be your virtual sister that is just having these real conversations with you, somebody that's been through it, and maybe I might be that mentor figure for you. You might be younger or older or something. I might be going through something that you, or going through a certain period in my life that you aspire to be in. And I can just sit and tell you my experience. Of course, my experience is not everyone else's experience, but I just like to sit and have these real conversations, of course, especially for our journey through stepping into our femininity. These are things that just help with your confidence overall, and you can be the best woman possible by learning to give yourself grace, and that comparison is a thief of joy. Okay, if you sit and compare yourself, you would be so miserable every day, and you wouldn't even be working to those accomplishments that you have. So I know it's hard, but sometimes just sit down, write out your feelings. Like I said, journal, seek out mentorship, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, someone that might have been in your shoes before, to kind of just talk you through it and realize that your journey is your journey. It might not always happen at the time or the year. You might not always have the amount of money, but you are living in a period of time that you once hoped and prayed for, and that will continue to happen throughout your life as long as you stay diligent and, really grateful, and stay on your path. Everything will work out. This is my video on comparison and imposter syndrome. This was episode 2 of Stepping Into Your Femininity, focusing on comparison and imposter syndrome. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And if you would like to watch any of the other episodes of Stepping Into Your Femininity, especially episode 1, we touch base on 5 tips to become your best woman. So I will put that up there so you can feel free to watch, and let me know what you think about comparison and imposter syndrome and any experiences you have had. As always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to